Hey there YouTube! I was asked in a PM recently what my perspectives on the paranormal and the supernatural are. Now, those of you who have been tuned to my channel for a reasonably long period of time will know that I had quite a profound obsession with occultism and spirituality. Not spiritualism. I've never liked spiritualism. I've never bought into it. But when I was a much younger man, when I was a child, really, I used to really like occultism and ritual magic and that sort of thing. I never exactly believed in any one particular system or anything to that effect, and I never defined myself as an occultist or whatever. But I enjoyed it. I found it attractive. The ritualistic qualities I found to be very attractive, and the aesthetics of it as well, the aesthetics of ritual magic, I still think are very attractive. And there are things that they are tropes and subjects that occur quite consistently in my fiction. I do like the concept of magic. Unfortunately, despite much research and experimentation, I never found anything that worked, or anything that yielded results that were not entirely incidental, that could have been brought about by something else, that weren't environmental or emotional, weren't based on feelings or whatever. And that is the thing that annoys me about the so-called paranormal and the supernatural. There seems to be so much of it that's based on exactly that. It's people going into the room and feeling something. Well, that doesn't matter. I can feel something. Sitting here right now, I'm feeling lots of things. I'm a bit cold, for example. That's because the heating isn't on at the moment. It doesn't really signify anything. It's an entirely subjective experience. It's something I mean, I have a problem with the definition of the supernatural or the paranormal anyway. It seems to me that it's an entirely synthetic concept. There's no... I don't see where that division occurs. There is just the normal, there is just the natural waiting to be explained. There are just phenomena waiting to be explained. I don't understand at what point something can be determined as supernatural. It seems to me that most people would define the supernatural as that which doesn't have any rational explanation. But this is what people who buy into the supernatural, into concepts of the supernatural, are constantly trying to find. It seems self-defeating to me. Rather, I think it would be better to acknowledge that there are phenomena and that they are awaiting explanation, or that they do not have clear explanation as of yet. Take ghostly encounters, for example. Now, the range of experiences that people define as ghostly are very broad. They range from people, as I mentioned earlier, walking into rooms and having a bit of a jittery feeling and feeling a bit cold, right up to noises and poltergeist activity and actual manifestations of entities. Now those are the ones that interest me, because they can be quantified. If I experience something, that's what I want to encounter. I want to encounter something that moves objects, that makes them levitate, that manifests as well. I would like to see something that's not vague and blurry. I'm not interested in orbs or anything to that effect, because that just shrieks to me of absolute bullshit. It's people very desperate to see something and imposing a particular interpretation on something that likely has an entirely banal explanation. And I really dislike, I despise it when you see those television programs where you've got people with digital cameras like, oh look, an orb, and it's just it's a dust particle or a moth or whatever. It could be anything. It really narks me, that one. No, I want to see something. If there is anything to see, I want to see something absolute. I want to see a ghost. I want to see something that is a manifestation, a spectre or something. And what do I think of the phenomena themselves? Well, I don't know what to think, because I've never had that kind of encounter. I've never worked with a ghost, or something that could be defined as a ghost anyway, loosely defined as a ghost. I've never ever had that. I don't know whether there's some sort of external phenomena, whether it actually is something environmental, or whether it's psychological, or whether it's a combination of the two. I mean, there are lots of theories out there. There's the stone tape theory, for example, that certain materials can record in the same manner as videos or DVDs or whatever, can actually record particular events, which explains to a certain degree why many reportings of ghostly phenomena seem to consist of spectres doing the same things over and over and over. They don't seem to be conscious entities or spirits or demons or anything to that effect. They almost seem like recordings. They do the same. They perform the same actions over and over again. So I find that interesting. I don't think there's any evidence or scientifically credible investigations that have demonstrated it to be so yet. But I think it is interesting, and I think the whole area of parapsychology, I suppose, is actually quite interesting. It's filled with far too many people who are determined to see something. That's absolutely so. It's filled with people who are way too determined to impose very particular interpretations upon phenomena, and so many of them are very vague as well. I mean, that really annoys me. You get things like cold spots or whatever. What does that mean? That doesn't signify anything. It doesn't signify anything that could be defined as supernatural or paranormal or spectral or ghostly or whatever. It just signifies a cold spot, a drop in temperature in a particular area. It could be caused by any number of things. And you know what else pisses me off? When you see them going around with those electromagnetic meters. Well, who determined in the first place that the presence of something supernatural or paranormal causes fluctuations in the electromagnetic fields or whatever? Who determined that? Because we can't even determine what is supernatural or paranormal. We can't even determine that ghosts exist. So how can we, or how they exist if they do? So how can we determine that something supernatural or paranormal or one of these manifestations causes fluctuations in ambient electromagnetic fields? How do we determine that? It's just nothing. It really is foolish. And then, of course, you have the spurious arseholes, the leeches, the parasites like Derek Akora, the spiritualists, basically, the people who proclaim not only to have expert and special insider knowledge about this stuff, but make money off of it. But when it actually comes to being subjected to any kind of objective test, fail every single time. I hate spiritualists. I'm not interested in them. I'm not interested in anyone who purports to be able to tell me what happens when we die who isn't dead themselves. And even then I'd be suspect. You know, you can't just automatically trust something because it comes from a particular source. Even if a dead person manifested here right now, a ghost manifested here right now and started telling me things about the afterlife, it wouldn't mean they were telling the truth, would it? That's the thing. And spiritualists and psychics and mediums and whatnot especially piss me off, because if I could speak to the dead, I would be asking them pertinent questions. I wouldn't give a shit who they care about, or, you know, I wouldn't give a shit about what they have to say to their relatives or anything like that. I'd want to know what happens. I'd want to know what the state is like. How is it that you exist in this conscious and communicable manner outside of your flesh, with your flesh rotting in the ground somewhere or scattered as ashes? How is that possible? I want to know. And I want to know what the state is, and how it functions environmentally, and all of this stuff.